Rest in peace. Linda Lewis has passed away at the age of 72. Her sister pays tribute to the singer-songwriter who performed with David Bowie. The singer of It's in His Kiss died peacefully on Wednesday at home, according to her family. Linda Ann Fredericks, sometimes known as Linda Lewis, was an English singer, composer, and musician who lived from September 27, 1950 to May 3, 2023. She is best known for the singles Rock-a-Doodle-Doo, 1973, and Shoop Shoop Song, It's in His Kiss, by Betty Everett, 1975. One Lark, 1972, Not a Little Girl Anymore, 1975, Woman Overboard, 1977, and Second Nature, 1995 too, are some of the solo albums on her repertoire. These albums were commercial successes in nations like Japan. Together with David Bowie, Al Kooper, Cat Stevens, Steve Harley, and Cockney Rebel, Lewis also sang background vocals for Rick Wakeman, Rod Stewart, Peter Bardens, 3, Hummingbird, Joan Armatrading, and Jamiroquai. 4. Of her 6 siblings, 3 of whom were singers, she was the oldest. Lewis was a self-taught guitarist and keyboardist who drew inspiration from Joni Mitchell as well as Smokey Robinson, Billie Holiday, and Harry Nilsson. 3. She combined folk, funk, and soul in her songs. D. Lewis Clay, Linda Lewis' sister, shared the following statement on Instagram. "It is with the deepest grief and regret that we convey the news of the quiet passing of our dear and beautiful sister Linda Lewis today at her home. The family kindly requests that you respect our privacy and give us some space to grieve during this tragic time. She provided more than 4 decades of entertainment for her hordes of fans after being born Linda Ann Fredericks in West Ham, England. After attending theater school, she made a screaming fan appearance in the 1964 Beatles movie, A Hard Day's Night. The self-taught guitarist and keyboard player, known for her 5-octave vocal range, later performed at the inaugural Glastonbury Festival in 1970. Later, she contributed to David Bowie's 1973 Aladdin Sane album as a backing singer. In the same year, Rock-a-Doodle-Doo, her debut single, peaked at number 15 in the UK charts. Yet, It's in His Kiss, a rendition of Cher's The Shoop Shoop Song, which peaked at number 6 in 1975, was her biggest hit. Linda continued to have 4 hits in the top 40 all through the 1980s. With her sweet voice, she performed on tour with artists like Cat Stevens, Steve Harley, Cockney Rebel, Rick Wakeman, and Jamiroquai. The birthplace of Linda Fredericks is Essex's West Ham. Her father was a Jamaican pharmacist, and her mother was a jazz vocalist of British and Guyanese descent. Lewis' parents split when she was 3 years old, and her mother reared her mostly. 6. Lewis, who went to Theatre School 7, was frequently hired in non-speaking roles for television and movies, such as A Taste of Honey, 1961, and as a yelling fan in the first Beatles movie, A Hard Day's Night, 1964. She also performed in front of the public for payment. She became a member of the Q-Set, a British group that played ska and blue beat music with Jamaican influences. She performed Dancing in the Street with John Lee Hooker in a Southend-on-Sea club in 1964. Hooker set up Don Arden to handle her after introducing her to Ian Samwell. She joined Polydor after signing, and in 1967, she cut the Northern Soul single, You Turned My Bitter into Sweet, which is now prized for collecting. 8. 9. Linda Kendrick, another artist contracted to Polydor, was concerned that her name, Linda Fredericks, would cause confusion. In honor of vocalist Barbara Lewis, Fredericks adopted the name Linda Lewis. Her mother, Dee and Shirley Lewis, as well as her sisters would all use the surname professionally. Junior Care 11, who later replaced Marcia Hunt in the soul rock group The Ferris Wheel and toured Europe with them, and Linda Lewis created White Rabbit in 1967. When the band disbanded the following year, She also collaborated with them on the recordings for the albums Ferris Wheel, 1970, and Can't Stop Now. 2. The DJ and event booker Jeff Dexter secured Lewis' appearance at the inaugural Glastonbury Festival on September 19, 1970, where she jammed with Terry Reid and David Lindley. Lewis signed to Warner Bros. Records imprint Reprise after a fortuitous encounter with executive Ian Ralphini. Lewis also worked as a session vocalist during this time too, which allowed her to feature on albums including Cat Stevens' Catch Bull at 4, 1972, David Bowie's Aladdin Sane, 1973, Al Cooper's Potential Projection of the Future, and Hummingbird's debut album Hummingbird, 1975. 4. She later joined Family's brand new Raft label, which is distributed by Warner/Reprise. 12. In the summer of 1973, her debut song Rock-a-Doodle-Doo peaked at No. 15 on the UK singles chart zone. It was followed by the album Fathom's Deep 3, which included Bobby Tench, a former member of the Jeff Beck Group's guitar lineup. 13. This critically lauded album made her one of Britain's most promising young female singer-songwriters, but despite its success, Raft Records' bankruptcy at the time likely contributed to its lack of commercial success. Nonetheless, she had multiple appearances on the BBC television program Top of the Pops, which increased her fame and led to a lengthy global tour with Cat Stevens. 2. Returning to the studio, she joined Arista Records, cut the songs for her debut album Not a Little Girl Anymore, 1975, which featured Alan Toussaint and the horn section from Tower of Power, and then signed with the label. It's in His Kiss, a cover of the Shoop Shoop song, was released as a single at the same time as the album and peaked at No. 6 on the UK singles chart. 3. Tony Sylvester and Bert DeCoteau produced the songs The Old Schoolyard, which Cat Stevens penned for her, and It's in His Kiss. 14. 15. Roy Harper, Captain Beefheart and the Magic Band, the Steve Miller Band, and Pink Floyd performed at the Knebworth Festival after Lewis on July 5, 1975. She performs with Jess Roden on the 1977 album Go To. Over the subsequent several years, 3 additional albums were released. She recorded as Lewis, then as Lewis Sisters in 1986 and 1987, along with her sisters Dee and Shirley. Thanks for watching my video.